For nearly 4 years, the XRP community has been living under the shadow of a legal battle that seemed like it might never end. Every court filing, every motion, every tiny piece of news out of the SEC or Ripple has been magnified, analyzed, and debated endlessly. But now, for the first time in what feels like forever, there's a very real sense that this marathon might actually be heading for the finish line, and it's all coming down to a key SEC vote scheduled for August 7th, a moment that could literally determine the outcome of this entire case, and by extension, the future of XRP itself. The weight of this vote can't be overstated. This isn't some procedural update or routine scheduling notice. This is a critical decision point inside the SEC, and if the rumors coming from legal analysts and insiders hold true, this vote will decide whether the SEC pushes forward with an appeal or steps back and effectively ends their pursuit of Ripple. For XRP holders, the stakes are massive. This could be the moment the uncertainty ends and a new era of clarity and growth begins, or it could be the trigger for yet another wave of legal drama that keeps the market in limbo for months, maybe even years. To come to understand why August 7th is so critical, you have to remember where we've been since December 2020. Ripple has been locked in a relentless battle with the SEC over the claim that XRP should be classified as a security. Ripple has fought back, arguing that XRP is a digital asset like Bitcoin or Ethereum, and therefore not under the SEC's jurisdiction. Over the course of the lawsuit, Ripple has scored several key wins, including a landmark ruling that XRP sales on secondary markets are not securities transactions. That alone was a massive victory, but the SEC has been unwilling to concede, keeping the door open for appeals and further legal wrangling. Now here's where things get interesting. In recent weeks, analysts who follow the case closely have noticed signs that the SEC may be under internal pressure to make a final decision. There's growing speculation that not everyone inside the commission agrees with Chair Gary Gensler's aggressive stance on crypto enforcement. Some insiders reportedly believe the agency's resources are being wasted on a losing battle, and with other high-profile cases on their plate, like the ongoing fights with Coinbase and Binance, the SEC might not have the bandwidth to keep chasing Ripple indefinitely. This is where the August 7th vote comes in. According to multiple sources, the commission is set to meet behind closed doors to decide whether to authorize an appeal in the Ripple case. If they vote yes, the legal saga continues, possibly dragging into 2025 or beyond. If they vote no, it could be game over. The SEC would effectively be conceding defeat, and Ripple would walk away with a massive, market-moving victory. For the XRP market, that outcome would be seismic. Just imagine what happens if the headlines hit on August 7th, or shortly after. SEC ends Ripple lawsuit. XRP declared not a security. The floodgates of adoption could open almost overnight. U.S. exchanges that have been hesitant to relist XRP could move quickly to add it back. Financial institutions that were waiting on legal clarity might finally pull the trigger on XRP-based payment solutions, and retail investors, many of whom have been sitting on the sidelines, could come rushing back into the market. Analysts are already gaming out the price scenarios right now. XRP has been trading in the $2.70 to $3.30 range, with plenty of volatility as traders try to anticipate the next move. But if the SEC withdraws and the lawsuit officially ends, we could see a swift run to $4 or $5 in a matter of days. From there, the technical charts point to the possibility of even higher targets: $7, $10, maybe even $15 over the next several months, especially if broader market conditions remain favorable. Of course, it's not just about price. The end of this lawsuit would give Ripple a green light to fully execute its business strategy without the constant drag of legal uncertainty. They could accelerate partnerships with banks, expand their on-demand liquidity network, and roll out new products in the U.S. market that have been on hold for years. Ripple has been forced to operate with one hand tied behind its back, especially in the American market. That could all change in an instant, but before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about the other side of this coin, because there's still a real chance the SEC votes to move forward with an appeal in that scenario. XRP holders would have to brace for another extended period of uncertainty. The appeal process could take months to even begin, and a final resolution might not come until well into 2025. Prices could stall or even retrace as investors digest the news, and the momentum we've been building could temporarily fade. That's why August 7th is such a nerve-wracking date for the XRP community. It's the kind of moment where the market could swing wildly in either direction. Traders are watching the charts like hawks, looking for any sign of accumulation or sudden sell-offs that might hint at insider knowledge. Social media is buzzing with speculation, and every comment from Ripple executives or SEC officials is being dissected for hidden clues. There's also the wildcard factor. What if the SEC votes, but doesn't immediately announce the decision? That would leave the market in a state of limbo, waiting for an official statement. In the absence of hard news, rumors could run wild, triggering sharp but unpredictable price movements. We've seen it before in this case, and it's not out of the question that we could see it again. The closer we get to August 7th, the more intense the anticipation will become. You can already feel the tension building in the community. Holders are debating whether to take some profit now in case of a sell the news dip, or to hold through the decision in hopes of catching a breakout. Whales, those massive holders who can move markets with a single transaction, are being closely monitored. If they start accumulating heavily in the days leading up to the vote, it could be a sign that smart money is betting on a favorable outcome. This is the reality of being an XRP holder in 2025. You're not just investing in a digital asset, you're riding the roller coaster of one of the most consequential legal battles in crypto history. Every twist and turn has the potential to change the game, and August 7th is shaping up to be one of the biggest turns yet. The fact is, no one can say with absolute certainty how the SEC will vote, but what we can say is that the outcome will send ripples, pun intended, across the entire crypto market. A win for Ripple could strengthen the case for other projects facing similar scrutiny, while a loss could embolden the SEC to double down on its enforcement-first approach. Either way, the implications go far beyond just XRP. As we count down the days, one thing is clear: if you hold XRP, you need to be paying close attention. August 7th isn't just another date on the calendar, it's a potential inflection point in the life of this asset. Whether it's the end of a long and exhausting chapter, or the start of another drawn-out battle, the decisions made behind those closed SEC doors will shape the future of XRP for years to come. And here's the most important takeaway: markets love clarity. Even if it's not the clarity we were hoping for, the mere fact that the SEC is making a decision, any decision, means we're moving toward resolution for traders and investors who've been navigating this legal fog since 2020. That alone is reason to stay engaged. In just days, we'll know if this is the moment the XRP army has been waiting for, or if the fight goes on. Until then, keep your eyes on the news, watch the charts, and prepare for volatility, because whether the SEC votes yes or no, August 7th is going to be a day the crypto world remembers. And if history has taught us anything, it's that XRP has a way of surprising even the most seasoned market watchers when the pressure is on.